In this video, I'll show you how to set up a CDN, Content Delivery Network, for your Joomla site to use. Hey there, Joomla fans. Tim Davis here. I'm a Joomla fan too, and thanks for tuning in to Maintenance Monday live stream number 78 here on the Basic Joomla Tutorials channel. As I said, we're going to be looking at setting up a CDN for our Joomla site, so let's turn our attention to the screen and we'll get going right on that. For those of you that are watching live, thanks for tuning in. Say hi in chat, please. And if you are watching this encore performance, this as a recording on YouTube, please subscribe to the channel and ring the bell to get notifications of new live streams. We're here at the basicjoomla.com site, and / giveaways. Go ahead, enter into this month's draw for some great Joomla stuff that you can win and be very useful. Something that's not for actually using Joomla, but that you will find very useful for working on your Joomla sites to have running in the background. iloveoldtimeradio.com. You can win a 1-year silver membership. That's the prize I'll focus on today. All right, so basically a CDN, a content delivery network, is, think of it as this way. There are computers all over the world belonging to a company, and basically you set it up so that your Joomla whatever files like images or CSS files or fonts or whatever you want will be served from that network of computers. Just like Amazon has fulfillment centers all over the world, you order something, it comes to you hopefully from the one that's closest to your location, and that's how it works with the CDN. So if your web hoster, for instance, like the server that I have is in Montreal, Canada, someone in Australia goes to visit one of my web pages, well, the file is sitting on a server in Australia or in the Asia area, and then it gets served up quicker, and that improves the speed of your site downloading and being viewed, and that can help your search results, and also can take a load off of your own server. So we're going to do this in a couple of steps here. All right, hey Vinny, and hello John. First of all, before I set up the extension that we're going to use in Joomla, I'm going to create an instance of a CDN. It's actually called CloudFront on Amazon Web Services. The reason that I'm doing Amazon Web Services is that I already have one on there from a project that I looked at a year ago, was working on, played around, and that's just where I have it. There are other CDNs, and if I could get access to them for free, I'd be happy to do a tutorial on how to set one up on that. So I don't know if you want to let me into your account to do that, or you've got a company and we'll contact them and see if they'll comp a membership to do that. But we're going to do it in Amazon Web Services. So let's look at that tab. I'm already set there. So of course you would go to aws.amazon.com and you would set up an account, and then you would then sign into your console. Let's just go here. Just change this to full screen here for a second. Actually, I'm already signed in, so we can switch back. And there's just so much stuff that Amazon Web Services offers. Sometimes it gets lost in here. So basically, I'm just going to find a service, CloudFront. CloudFront. Content Delivery Network. All right, you'll see I have two running here. One is for my cybersalt.org site, and the other one is for smartdrivetest.com. We just set that up a couple of days ago. I'm going to open this in a new tab and put it on my other screen because I want to copy the settings here that I have. Now, so create distribution. And again, we're creating this so that we can let it spin away, and then I will activate it on the Joomla site, and we'll see how to do that. Let me just check what camera I have showing here. Great. So get started. We're going to do one for a web. That's the delivery method for the content web. So we'll click on get started. Now, so origin domain name, that's the domain name of the site that you want to have associated with this CloudFront or with this CDN version. So I'm going to do basicjoomla.com. Lots of help information here on the sides here. It says click in the field and specify the domain for your origin. All right. Origin path we can leave blank, and origin ID, just leave that custom joomla.com. I pretty much do not switch many things here. The origin protocol policy, HTTP only, I go with match the viewer. So I have everything set up on the site to go through HTTPS, but I just go with match the viewer. Origin and all this I just will leave the same. In fact, there's a whole bunch of stuff in here that I don't fully understand. Well, that doesn't stop me. And then we can get to pattern. Just a sec. I'm going to make sure that I've got the chat up here. Everything else down here you can pretty much leave. Now, of course, you could always take your time and read up on each of these and figure out what you need. But this is just really a basic setup for my site. So if you've got something more complex happening with your web stuff, then of course you want to check into here. There was one thing that I did notice the other time. Compress objects automatically. So this is just, if you're not using GZIP, for the stuff that your server is sending out, because your server will be sending files, actually will be serving up files to all of these different instances of the computers around the world. If it's not compressing things, in this case, AWS CloudFront will compress them, and not only does that serve them up faster, but it can cut down on your cost for the data transfer for using these. And we're gonna after a while, after we get this set up, I'm gonna go into my account here and I'll show you all the different settings and reports and an overview on that. That'll be in the bonus section when we get to chat afterwards. All right, so price class, use all edge locations best performance, or you can just pick US, Canada, Europe, Asia, and Africa, or just US, Canada, and Europe. So basically, where are all the locations that you want to serve up your files from? So I'll leave this for best performance, and the rest, AWS WF Web ACL. If you want to use AWF, oh, here's a way to block requests based on criteria that you specify. All right. Well, I'm not going to worry about that right now. Don't want to block anything. SSL certificate, the default one, or you could put in your own. Basically, I'm just going to leave everything the same here. All right. That's all that I need to do. So I'm going to click Create Distribution, and you will see now that the progress status is spinning, and that's being set up. I've got the origin as basicjoomla.com. I didn't put www in there, so we'll see if that makes a difference. All right, so next, now that that is created and it's spinning and it's being set up, hey Rick, what we can do is, hey Ivor, what we can do is then install an extension on our Joomla sites which will allow us to use that CDN from our Joomla site. And not surprisingly, the one that I use is from Regular Labs CDN, CDN for Joomla. So let's go install that here. We'll go to Extensions, Manage, Install, and I'm going to install from web. So I'm just going to search CDN. And there we have, it serves up over here, CDN for Joomla. 29 reviews, 100 out of 100. I will click install and install again. Of course, you can install that through the Regular Labs Extension Manager if you already have that on your site. And there we go. So next, we're going to go to Extensions and, well, let's go over Components. Regular Labs Extension Manager. We'll do it this way this time. You could go to Plugins to find it. And there's CDN for Joomla. I'm just going to click on System Plugin. And we will open that up to view the settings. Now, so here's some information about CDN for Joomla. And we'll go to the Setup. And basically, you can leave site root at /, although you can read this pop-up here. If you want, you can specify a subfolder. The CDN domain, now that is the key to our launching off the pad here. Yes, so yeah, I see things happen in chat there, so I will we'll get to that in just a second. This CDN domain is the one that has been created for your site, your instance here, your CloudFront instance. This domain name right here. Now I can show this publicly what it is because it will show up in the URL of files that are being served up from that. And it's only going to serve up files for basicjoomla.com. So I'm going to copy that domain. I'm going to put it in CDN, in the CDN domain. And really, you can look at the CDN protocol. Now, I've got it set for, you can select HTTP or HTTPS. I selected both in setting this up, and we'll just set it to the same as the CDN protocol anyways. A bunch of other things in here that I've not looked at. Use relative protocol. Select to use the / : protocol when possible instead of HTTP or HTTPS. Oh, that's the way. Okay. I know that a little bit, relative protocol. I don't know it well enough to talk about it now. File types. What files do you want to be served up from the CDN? So here we have, let me just zoom in on this a bit. CSS, JavaScript files, bitmaps, GIF, JPEG, or JPG, JPEG, icon, ICO, PNG, TIFF, all these. You could add whatever you wanted. So for instance, if you had a video or some music on your site and you wanted it to be served up, not from your server, but from different locations around the world for speed purposes, you would just go comma, MP3. All right, I'm not going to do that. Ignore files. If there's a file type that you don't want to go out to the world, you always want to serve that from your server, that's what you would put in here. Enable inline scripts. Let's see, what does that say? Select to convert the media file URLs found in inline JavaScripts. I might want that if I understood what that was. Switch this off if you find that it causes issues. Well, is that yes? We'll leave it at yes. If that's the default that Peter's using, I'm all good for that. File versioning. Select to enable version of the file URLs. The last modified date of the file will be added to its URL. This will force the CDN to pull a new version of the file if it gets updated. So that could be handy. If you're constantly changing your site or images, but they have the same name, the image has the same name, this will append the date to the end. And so when you change it, the CDN will see that it's been changed and will get the new file and serve it up. If you have a fairly static site, you're not going to be concerned about that. So I'll leave that at yes. Now, I believe that this is, now you have an option to use other CDN sets. This might be a pro feature, but you can set up others here. And up at the top, you also can, in the pro version, you can put other CDNs, and your serving will be, it will randomly switch between the different CDNs if you want to spread it out over a couple of companies, I suppose. Anyway, so let me reset that to control 0. All right, now let's check back here. This is not done spinning yet. So what I'm going to do is in the plugin, I'm going to go to disabled, and then I'm going to save that because we don't want to start serving up our images, for instance, using that new web address that they're going to have, and because that would be broken right now on the site until this is working. So as an example of what changes, instead of keeping you waiting here, let's take a look at my cybersalt.org site. And then we will go into here. So this picture of the parrot, I'm going to open image in a new tab. Now, I don't know, you might not be able to see this even if I zoom in. No, even zooming in is not going to work. But up here, let me, here's what I can do. I'm going to copy the URL for this image, and I will paste it on a Notepad++ screen here. All right, and then I'm going to drag this over here, and then we'll go Control+. Okay. Now let me just double check that I've got the right camera screen happening here. Yeah. Okay, so see the URL of that image. So the image for this parrot, which is on my cybersalt.org site, which is a Joomla site, the image for that parrot, the URL is this: D20YZJD blah 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 blah. You get the idea. .cloudfront.net/images bang.jpg. Now this D20YZJ you will recognize. Let's see. Let's which one do I want here? This one here. All right. You will recognize that that is the domain in cybersalt.org right here. E3Q2WMK. Sorry, D20YZ right there. That is the domain name of this CDN, cybersalt.org. So now images, JPEGs for sure we know, when they go out on the web page, it doesn't show the source of the URL as being my domain, cybersalt.org. It shows the source of the URL being the CDN, or in this case, the Amazon CloudFront. And now when people all over the world, when their browser calls for that image, it's going to be served up from the location closest to them, lickety-split, a lot faster. Now let's just check back. All right, so progress is still spinning. So what would happen here in my Joomla site is once this is progress is done, spinning, and it's activated, I would go in here and I would enable this plugin because we've already put in the domain, and then images such as, let's see here, giveaway, this ticket here. I'll right click and open in a new tab. You see that right now, I'll just read this to you. It's being served up from basicjoomla.com/images/graphics, enter to win ticket.gif. This will start, this URL will change, and this image will be served up from the computer that is closest to the person visiting the page. Now, I did say that I was going to take a look at some of the bills and some of the different costs associated with this. Before we do that, I do just want to say to those of you that won't be sticking around for that part or the wonderful chat afterwards, hey, Vinny has something to, some news today. Thanks for your support of this channel. Thanks for tuning in and watching. I hope that it is helpful. If it is helpful, has been helpful, why not subscribe and ring the bell for notifications. Leave a comment below and like the video. That helps people find the content. Also, if you have, like I said, if you have another CDN that you'd like to see how to set up, just drop me an email, tim@basicjoomla.com. That's going to help me filter or sort mail from the live streams a bit better. And yeah, if you have any recommendations or things that you want to say about the CDNs, leave them in the contents in the comment section below. So for those of you that are leaving right now, not sticking around for the chat and for the bonus material here, thanks for watching. Enjoy your Joomla sites, and God bless. All right. Hello, everybody that is staying. Yeah, I was, listen, as far as what you guys have been talking about in chat, let me just catch up on that. Yeah, I did not get the thumbnail done today for today's live stream until last night around, maybe about 11:30, maybe around midnight. So I don't know if a notification went out of the live stream today. So that might have been a bit delayed. For those of you that follow me on Facebook, and you're more than welcome to, I did some live streaming while I was stuck on the highway in a mountain pass last night. So that got me home late. Also, yeah, so Vinny knows when I'm going to start, so he's just waiting. Yeah, so, so the countdown, yes. When I do the countdown on the site, the 1 minute countdown, I crop it out at the beginning, but it really adds to the delay of me setting up cards and stuff. So I'm trying to go to the shorter one. I really would like to make just an intro video that I can run. So today I did the 10-second countdown, got down to 3 seconds. I went live, and then it switched. So on YouTube, that comes up pretty quick. All right, let's check out this. Oh, I'm timed out on here. Okay, so let's go to switch back to this page here. And yes, so that is still spinning and not happening yet. So let me show you some of the costs that are involved in a CDN. To do that, I'm going to go over to cache. Let's look at cache statistics first. And that is for smart drive tests. Let's go to cybersalt.org. So here are some statistics on my CDN I'm using. Yeah, when I don't do the longer countdown, I'm always in the middle of something when it pops on. That is true, although on the replay, the countdown shows up. So I'm going to have to, that's why I want to have like a 30-second countdown of something that I don't mind leaving up for the recordings. Because when people go to the channel and they go to watch something that says, you know, and they want to watch it right away, I don't want to have just that boring clock there. All right, so here are the total requests. And I have this set up for the maximum for 2 months since December 14th to today. The total number of requests to the CDN, to the CloudFront, from my site. And you'll see that I had something really big happen around February 6th. Basically 69,000 requests that day. And that's requests for a file. So that's individual files asked for from the CDN. Percentage of viewer requests by result type. All right, so green here shows how many, I can zoom in a little bit here. Green here shows how many files were requested and actually were on the CloudFront existence already. All right. Blue is misses, and if I understand right, and I turn off hits here, blue, this is what percentage of requests were not on that already. We're not on the CDN already. So I think those are new files or files that have never been called before. And so they were served up directly, I think, from my server. But what also happens is when a file is called for that, the CloudFront or the CDN goes to your server and gets it. All right, so that's just showing. And that just shows how often that has happened. And if I turn misses off, this is the percentage of errors. And this could actually be, and this could actually be someone's loading the page and they close it before that gets served up. I believe that's what errors are. There's lots of information here on this. Total bytes transferred. All right, so here's, so for instance, on that big day, I had 1.4 gigabytes transferred from the CDN to people who are viewing. And then there's like 0.1 gigabytes that are were from misses. And then here are the HTTP statuses of those. So 2XX, the green, those were all delivered just fine. So you'll see 96%. 3X, that's probably a redirect, right? The 301. No, that's 401. I'm not sure what 3X. Anyways, there's all sorts of things could be down here. Here we go. Show details. Additional actions required. For example, 301 moved permanently. Right. Means that the requested object has moved to a different location. So maybe I moved something around. Anyways, you can check out on things, different information like that. Percentage of GET requests that did not finish downloading. So again, here's like 0.23%. 76 out of 32,000 did not complete. And as they show here, it could be just that viewers did not finish downloading what was requested. Yes, Ivor, so the CDN will reduce the server load significantly because, we can, let me just show you an example here. So this, so let me just make this a bit smaller. So this, right now we're viewing all locations. Why don't we just view North America? Let's view Asia. There won't be much here. So for instance, over that time, we'll take a look at February the 6th, where there's a spike. There's only there's only 1,100 calls, and the bandwidth that was transferred on that day was only 21 megabytes. But those 21 megabytes did not come from my server. They came from the server closest to the people in Asia who were viewing the site. So yes, so it does take the load off your server. For instance, let's go to North America. And on that February 6th, that was a huge spike that day. They were looking at 61,000, over 61,000 calls. And the bytes transferred were 1.2 gigabytes. So that was 1.2 gigabytes that did not come off of my server. And so, yes, it does take the load off of your server. And so that could be a good thing. I think that is nice. And especially for this particular site, because that's my slower server. I mean, this is my big site, and I've got it on there, and it takes a lot of storage too. So the next time when I add the next newer server, I'll probably move it over. But this does take quite a bit of load off of that server, because at least my site is not constantly churning out stuff. So yes, it can make a difference in that. Let's take a look at costs. And I just need to find out where that is here. Let's see. Go to the billing dashboard. Let me see if I get any information here that you shouldn't see. All right, I don't think so. All right, so here's the billing dashboard. And what you can see here is that so far in, I think this is for February. Yes, for February. I've used $1.17 on all of the data transfer from the CDN that I've set up for cybersalt.org. Last month it was $2.75. And then you'll see here we got a little chart here. It shows CloudFront and S3. I must have an S3 thing set up, but I'm not using it, so it doesn't cost me anything. Now we can take a look at the bill details. Let me just change that here. Yeah, okay. So it's okay for you to see this. So here in my bill details, this is showing so far this month, the number that we saw, service charges CloudFront. And then it breaks down how much you're paying for each region. So Asia Pacific, so far this month, 5 cents. Australia, 3 cents. Canada, 3 cents. Europe, 12 cents. And that's so far this month. I can switch back to January, and we'll see, go down to CloudFront here. So in Asia in January, 13 cents altogether. Now you think, well, how does that, what was that for? We can open up this little arrow here. And so we'll see, so Amazon CloudFront requests by HTTPS, AP requests HTTPS. It costs 1.2 cents, so $0.012 for every 10,000 HTTPS requests. And there was 2. I'm very popular in Asia, as you can tell, Asia Pacific. So then here are tier 1, and I don't even understand this, what's tier 1 or tier 2. I could look into it, but you know, really, I set this up just to experiment, and that's why I use my own site, and I monitored the costs, and it's negligible, the cost. Anyways, 9/10 of a cent for every 10,000 HTTP requests. I had 1,000. There's not even a cost there yet for that month. And then bandwidth. So anyways, here's another tier 2 HTTPS. Maybe that's, maybe tier 1 is, oh, sorry, HTTP requests. Tier 2 HTTPS requests. Those are 1.2 cents per 10,000 at 22,000 requests of that, and that cost me 3 cents for the month. Bandwidth. So this is 6 cents per gigabyte, all transfer out to origin. Look at that. It was like not even a gigabyte, so there is no cost for that. And then 4 14 cents per gigabyte for the first 10 terabytes per month transferred out. All right, so that's 14 cents per gigabyte, 10 terabytes. So if I used all 10 terabytes there before the price changed, it would be like $14 a terabyte, is it? I don't know. I'm doing math on the fly. Anyways, I used 736 megabytes of bandwidth to the Asia Pacific area. It cost me 10 cents. So we can go down here to Europe, which is higher. And we can see that, so my HTTPS requests at 12 cents per 10,000, there was 2. But CloudFront requests at the same price, 10,000. I had 126,000 requests. All right, you go Europe. That cost me 15 cents. And bandwidth, I used 2.6 gigabytes in the whole month of January, sending stuff to Europe from the location there, or being called from the location in Europe. 22 cents it cost me. And of course, the biggest one down here is the United States. So for instance, there's 15 gigabytes, cost $1.33. So your mileage may vary, of course, with the CDN. If I were to put, for instance, one thing I don't have on here is a game that I have people playing. They have downloaded, like, they've played it 10 million times. And it's a gigabyte, it's not a gigabyte, it's just over a megabyte on its own. So that would greatly increase the traffic being served up. And I've never done that to sort of see what exactly the cost of that would be. So I also know that as a game, people are just playing it and not making too much money off of that. Just have some ads on there, and so I've not experimented with that. I just realized that I have not set up the Zoom call. Let me just do that quick. And I will start. Let's see. Schedule. I'm going to do it this way. Schedule. And bring this up so I can post the whole link. Because now, remember, you can call in if you can find a local phone call, or if you have unlimited long distance on your phone plan, you can phone in and use your voice instead of hooking up online here. And I have just a little brain for, there we go. Come on, join us on Zoom. Oh, that link is too big to share there. All right. Let's go Control End. All right, so here's the URL to join the Zoom call. And if you want to phone in, you can find a local number for yourself at that URL. And actually, if you have unlimited long distance in the US, you could also use this number. And also, if you are, when you're phoning in, what you need is that ID number for this particular call, which is, sorry to dump all these links on here, but that's the ID call. Now, I need to join in on that call myself so I can actually hear what's going on. And join with computer. There we go. All right, so I'm in there. Let's head back and check out the console here, and we will see if that is working yet, if that bucket has set up. CloudFront. Oh, I just heard a ding dong in my voice, so it's Vinny.
It's Vinny.
Let's see. It is still in progress, so we won't switch that on yet. But we will go back to billing. Let me just see what I've got happening for the screen that I'm showing here. Oh, it says it'll start at 3 p.m. That's your time, but it
Now,
will work. Yeah, when I went in to get the links, I scheduled it. I didn't bother changing the time, but it will work. Just go in, as you can tell, because we can hear Vinny.
can we hear Vinny?
I can hear you.
Okay. Well, I was talking. I wasn't sure if you weren't responding to me, so I didn't know if you
Oh,
could.
okay. No.
I
All right. Let's go back that where we view the stats for those, because there's some other interesting information there as well. Rick, by the way, if you're still in chat here, just wait to hear back on a date that's good for you to do the How to Test Joomla Watch Me Work live stream. So
yeah, Rick.
no pressure though, man.
There is pressure from me.
Well, I know, but you said you were busy this week for the one we were talking about maybe for Wednesday, so
I am busy, but
yeah. All right. So looking down the left-hand side of the side here, let's go to bills. Maybe that's not what I want. Let's see here. Usage. No, we looked at that. Oh, popular objects. Let's check that out. So here, excuse me, here is a report that shows what are the most popular objects being called for from your CDN. So in this case, it is the source coast JS JQ Bootstrap. Source coast is the file that is an extension that I use for Facebook. Putting the it's really handy for setting up things on Joomla for social media and handling Facebook. But that is for putting the Facebook comment box at the bottom of every page. I actually have been considering just removing that because it doesn't get used very much on that site, and I'm not sure what benefit comes from it when people do comment as far as traffic. So I actually thought to speed up my pages I might remove that. And when I see this, I can actually save on a bit of bandwidth as well. But like it really comes down to cost, I guess, in one sense, because if you can't afford the CDN, if you have like a site that's crazy busy, you're just gonna have to budget and figure it out. But if this is a feature that was working really well, it would be worth the cost in the speed load of my site. But who knows? Now, mood tools, there's another one. And those are, that's just showing the, I wonder, elemental P, no, I wonder what it's ordering it as there. Oh, no. Yeah, it's an interesting. Popular, what makes them decide that that is the most popular? Hard to say, because it's certainly not at the top. The following report shows selected values from CloudFront access logs for the 50 most popular objects by number of requests. It's just the top 50. Doesn't look like there's any alphabetical order to them, or the requests, the number of requests, bandwidth. It's all different order. That's strange. I wonder what this gear will say. Oh, and we can hide some things on here, but anyways, you can take a look and see what the top 50 requests are. Maybe you could find something in there you don't need. But I do not know what they're basing this on. Top referrers, let's check that out. So the top referrer here is cybersalt.org. I don't know why when the CloudFront would be a referrer, but more things to look into, not specified. Now Google.com That could very well be that they are displaying images or archived images in their manager, and so someone goes and looks at it, and Google.com is pulling from there. I believe that there's probably a way that you can set up your CDN so that that doesn't happen. Bing.com, Sogu.com, whatever that is, Google.co.uk, RetributionRP.org. And we're looking at very small accounts, count numbers here anyway. So, I mean, Google's only 4,500. It's 1%. Let's see. Usage. Oh, that's what we've already looked at. Viewers. This shows, this just gives you the same stats that you can get from Google Analytics or from maybe another tracker you may use on your site. It shows desktop users, mobile users, who were bots and crawlers, who was viewing on a tablet, empty users, you know, very lonely people that are so desperate that they're on my site, I guess, and unknown. Device trends. So this you can just see over the last, looks like since January. Oh, this is like maybe the last 2 weeks. There's a, whatever the big jump was here, it was big on with desktop users. So that would be interesting. I could actually go into Google Analytics and check out to see what that jump was on February the 6th. Why don't we do that for fun? Let's first of all check back here to see if CloudFront is still spinning. Go to that. So, Vinny, what is the news that you have for us today? I already know it.
I finally, after 2 months, is it? I finally got my standing desk set up.
Your standing desk set up. So it's probably a pain to get everything off of your desk and make room for it, right?
Yeah. It's not one of the ones like you have.
Yeah.
It's one that sits on top of your desk, and it quite honestly, I could use a button to press to lift it up because it is heavy.
Well, it's going to be good for your back. So there isn't a button. You actually have to do it manually.
Yeah, there's these two, I guess, buttons on the sides that I press and then I lift up.
Yeah.
It's top heavy because I have 3 monitors and I have my monitor holder, and it's just very weighty.
Yeah. Well, I found with my stand-up desk that was a couple of weeks before I really got all the new muscle action in place where I was used to it. So, all right.
You press a button.
Yes, but I mean standing and hovering over the keyboard and doing things. Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sitting right now because I couldn't stand for that long.
Yeah. No, and that's what I did. It took me a while before I could really get used to standing. Hey, everybody, the CDN that I set up for basicjoomla.com, it shows that it's enabled and deployed. So I'm going to go back to that plugin here. And, well, first of all, just so here's the ticket, the Enter to Win ticket, which is being served from basicjoomla.com. Now I will go in and enable. And the cache is being cleaned automatically because I use the cache cleaner from Regular Labs. So now we can go back to the giveaways page and refresh. And now you'll notice there that looks like the CSS has gone wonky. And that's probably just because it does not exist on the server where it got called from yet. So I'm going to go in here and just clean that cache again. And I'm going to go reload that. And it's still goofy. Something is not serving up there. Anyways, let's do this. Let's right click and open that image in a new tab this time. No, it still has not kicked in yet. Still being called from Basic Joomla. Let's see what happened here. Oh, you know what? That's probably where I didn't put in www. I wonder if that's the issue. Remember back here when I set it up, I for the domain name or the origin, I put basicjoomla.com, and this is instead of www. But that would be interesting. That's maybe why this is not happening. But maybe this CSS page, although this might be a GIF, a GIF. Let's look into this. No, I have GIF as a file type. Ivor asked, any experience with how much enabled GZIP compression in Joomla will help with speed? Yes, a good thing to maybe try if you're not using GZIP, go to gtmetrics.com. That might actually not be one of the things that it will show you. And actually, I should have gone to https://cybersalt.org. But it will show you that to enable GZIP, and I'm not sure if it would perhaps recommend tell you how much time you could save, but you do do really well having GZIP enabled. Just because whatever, if it's a file that can only be compressed 1%, you're not going to gain that much speed. But if it's a file that can be compressed 50% and it's a large file, you're going to notice a big difference. The other thing too, Ivor, about speeding up Joomla sites is there might not even be one big huge thing, although I can think of one offhand that would make a big difference. But just do everything that you can, and you'll chip away at the things that are making your page load slower than it could. Probably the biggest thing is to serve images that are not scaled. So by that, if you upload a picture that's 1 meg in size, but you're using it for a little 100 by 100 square icon, so it's being displayed 100 by 100, but you're still downloading the full whole megabyte, and that really can slow things down. So that would probably be the biggest thing. I have GZIP enabled here. Enable GZIP compression, so it doesn't show me what I could have joined, but go to GT Metrics is one that I use often for checking things out. There is also you can test on let's search here. What do we want to go here? Mobile. Let's see. I think this is it. No, this is not the exact one that I wanted to go to. Let's check here. Test speed. Here we go. Test page speed. Page speed insights. So that's developers.google.com. I'll just post that in the chat here. Put in my URL there. I think this is what I'm looking for. You put in the URL of your page. It will analyze. It's taking us a little bit of time there. My mobile score is only 12, and my desktop score is 62. And again, this is the mechanics car that I don't work too much on. And then you go down here, when you scroll down through these results, they will show you opportunities that you can work on. Eliminate render blocking resources is actually a neat one that I'm going to do a Watch Me Work live stream on. And it may, so I'm not going to talk too much about that, but anyways, there's lots of information that you can look at here and things that you can do. So Yeah, but I would say that GZIP is is excellent for speeding up your site. If you can't find a dime, find 10 pennies, and you're still doing good. So if you can't find one thing that speeds up everything right away, just chip away at those little things, and it will come along. All right, now let's go back to this page here. See why the well, you know what might be happening here. This might be my browser caching things as well. Shift F5 to force a refresh. Nope. Interesting. I bet you it's because I didn't put www.basicjoomla in there. All right, well, let's go back and see if I can edit that. Let's go to here and we go to edit. No. We'll go into there. Edit. Use all locations, distribution settings. No, that's not it. Origin. Oh, there we go. I will go and I'll put www.basicjoomla.com in there and edit that. I wonder what the change will take for that to happen. Let's see if it happens right away. Yeah, it did happen right away. Nice. All right. Open an image in a new tab. Oh, okay. Well, there you go. I learned something. What are the odds, eh, Vinny? Because as you can see up here now, that's being served from d28nlk.cloudfront.net. So there's an important thing to note. You do want the specific actual domain with the www or not entered into your CDN instance there. Nice. I get so little traffic to this site too compared to my other one. I'm just going to leave this bucket running and we'll see what happens. All right, so yeah, I wish I had made a comment about that earlier on in the video, but people will figure it out. Because I can't go back and change that. All right, so what is new, everybody? What else is happening today? What are you working on? Let's go to my Facebook here. I'm going to get my URL here. For those of you that don't follow me on Facebook, if you want to, there you go.
You know, I watched that video, the one that's auto playing right now.
Oh, of me and my carport?
Yeah, and I'll be honest, and this is not an insult.
No, but you had no sympathy for me.
No, but well, quite honestly, no, because we just got rid of a whole bunch of snow. And we got more on the way.
Yeah.
So, wah. But and two, you sounded so Canadian in that whole talk. Like if anyone didn't know you were Canadian, that will really open it up there for them.
Well, there you go. Well, it's because I had a toque on too, right?
No, it was just the way you were talking. You just you did kind of sound like the whole Rick Moranis and Dave Thomas.
Well, that's good. You know, that's all right, and I don't take that as an insult. That's like going to the zoo and saying to the lion, you know, don't take any personal. You know, this is not a slight against you, but when you roar, you sound like a lion.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah. It was one of the things that I noticed that, and what Vinny's referring to is, so I did Facebook live stream sitting in traffic, trying to come home from our We were visiting my son and daughter-in-law and a couple of our grandkids yesterday, just up island, hour and a half. But anyways, the snow came in. So to get out of Victoria, basically, you either have to drive up the peninsula to catch a ferry over to the mainland, or you have to, and that's about a 45-minute drive from here to get to there, or you can drive up the other side of the island until the road ends, although now it loops around, or you can, to leave Victoria, you go over what's called the Malahat Pass, and it's not that high. It's only about 1,200 feet, 1,300 feet above sea level, and you start out basically at sea level. Anyway, so it's typically gets a lot of it's not great when it snows, and part of it is because there's not a lot of snow on the west coast here, so when people struggle with the driving. So I grew up in Ontario, north of Toronto, and so lots of snow, long winters, lots of winter driving, not a big deal. But there's a lot of times that I don't drive, I don't drive in the snow out here if I need to when it does snow, is because the other people scare me. I'm more worried of the inconvenience of getting hit and having to wait for the police to sort it out for a couple of hours than anything else. So anyway, so we were coming back, and the Malahat was closed because some people had spun out. And there's actually a fuel truck that was stuck trying to come up in the other direction, so that's why that direction was closed off. Anyway, so I just live streamed from up there. And what was kind of fun was that when I thought about just doing it, I thought, and I had to figure out how to get it going on the app and my phone to live stream to Facebook, because I don't do it very often. But just as I was about to go live, I thought, I don't know, can I do this? And I thought, I'll just talk just like I usually do. And I started it, and then I just started talking. I thought, oh yeah, I do this twice a week, sometimes for hours alone, just talking. So so that was kind of fun. Well, and I'm glad that you could enjoy the Canadianness of it. And and when I was showing that video, I was in no way saying to people, oh, look how hard we have it. We have some snow. I was just giving people an update and letting, because some people were. My daughter sent me a message during the first live stream and said, thanks for the proof of life. So we do not, I know that we don't have it bad out here. As I look out the window right now, it is snowing just a little bit. We probably got another inch overnight, and but this is all going to be melted in about 5 or 6 days when the weather changes, and we'll go back to living a nice life out here. So
yeah, we got snow on the way.
Yeah,
we had ice last week, so that's much worse than snow.
Yes, yeah, that's interesting. Out here, when I moved to British Columbia, with its mountains and its passes, there's a very interesting new element to the forecast here. So you not only have what the temperature is going to be, but then you end up with this freezing level, and it changes. And you have to keep track of that, because there's some places that you're traveling that will be, you realize, when I travel to such and such, I'm going to gain elevation, and it's going to be freezing up there. So you kind of take that into consideration. So it's I don't know if it's a third dimension, but we just tend to think of like what's going to happen in my city, and is it going to snow? Is it going to rain? What's the temperature going to be? But then all of a sudden they say, and freezing level will be at such and such, and so you think to yourself, oh, okay, that's getting pretty low. That means I'll have to be careful on the roads when I drive to such and such a place. So
we don't do freezing level here. We do wind chill factor.
Yeah, but we do wind chill factor.